Good morning again. It is 7:04, just a minute to 5, and of course, it is time for us to do the newspaper review. This is your urban lifestyle station, High Impact 102.1 FM. My name is Toluwashe Akiumi, and this is where we talk about the major headlines on every front page of the newspaper in Nigeria. And of course, I'm not here alone. Hello.
Yeah. Well, most definitely, you are not alone. My name is Uche Okorie, and we will be here to make sure we give you all the details happening on the newspapers, at least the major dailies that we have with us right here today. It is July the 9th. Well, I do not know where the month is flying to.
It's really flying. It was just last week. Last week we were already saying Happy New Month. I mean, the second week already.
Oh, definitely. And well, for so many persons, it's like, yes, it's going real fast. But for some people, it's not even moving fast enough.
Like it's slow. Like, I cannot be slower than this.
I can imagine. And one thing that caught my attention yesterday, which really made me sad, because life is a very, very precious gift. And
it is.
It is really important that world over, life needs to be treated like it is as precious as it is. Because we saw the news of the Russian missiles bombing a Ukraine hospital, children's hospital to be precise, where about 33 children were killed. A Russian missile, in Ukraine. And it is really, really sad at this time, when
the families,
when the world should be talking peace and, everybody should be together. The children are the ones suffering the brunt of this. Fathers are lost, mothers are lost. Now even the children are not safe. It's really, really sad, and I just wish.
It's really terrible. Was it was it a real target? Was it a target?
Well, Russia will never give an answer to that. But the problem is, and still remains, the fact that 33 children were killed. It's really, really sad, and we do hope that someday we can, achieve total world peace. But it's something that is really, really hard. But I believe it's something that can be achieved. It is the newspaper review on High Impact Radio 102.1 FM, and of course you can be part of the program only if you follow us on our social media handles, and of course if you get the opportunity to call us up or send us a message. And for you to be part of that on X, you have to follow us at High Impact 1021 FM, and on Facebook at High Impact Radio 102.1 FM. We are also on Instagram at High Impact 1021 FM, TikTok High Impact 1021 FM. And in case you want to send us a message, on WhatsApp, so you can contribute to the show, so you can get to tell us what's happening in your own vicinity. You can get to tell us, how it pinches you, because basically
where it hurts the most,
because you are facing your own situation. In as much as Nigeria, we have different situations. You are facing yours. You can, tell us how it's happening with you, and share your thoughts about major things happening on the dailies today.
Exactly.
And if you want to send us a WhatsApp message, is it on 0907 224 5018, 0907 224 5018, or you can call us up. Yes, your voice can be heard right here on Impact Radio 102.1 FM, only if you call 0700 1021 1021, 0700 1021 1021. You can also get to watch us live on YouTube. Yes, we are live on YouTube at the moment at Impact 102.1 FM.
Exactly. He has called out the numbers, so if you want to join the conversation, those are where you can go to. You are still on the newspaper review. Let's take just a little bit of 15-minute break, and when we're back, we'll start with the major headlines.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Studio time 9 minutes past the hour of 7 right here on impact Radio 102.1 FM. In case you are just joining us, believe me, you have not missed a thing. We are just getting started, to feed you with the daily breakfast of news happening around Nigeria. And of course, we got different papers right in front of us. We've got the Punch, we've got Daily Trust, we've got the Guardian newspaper, and of course, the Vanguard newspaper. I'm going to start with the Punch newspaper because the Punch is leading with something huge, something
very important.
Something really important, but something
I'm only seeing the middle word. You see that middle word and the second and the third word.
Okay. Let me go into it. The Punch newspaper leads with this one. FG suspends food import duty. Partner states on farming. And it has two riders on this one. Say government launches 5-month duty-free imports window for maize, rice, wheat, and others. FG to also partner governors, military to cultivate arable lands and support smallholder farmers. I think this is good news, first and foremost, because
at least we'll be able to focus on us.
Yeah, one, that is important, and also because we are facing a high food inflation in Nigeria at the moment. So the moment you say, okay, for the basic needs, the basic food, the rice, the wheat, the maize, and all that, all those food, there is no import duty for 5 months. It goes to show that at least that will, reduce the pressure on these importers.
Exactly.
Reduce the pressure of the prices of this things. Because
allow us work on ours, and then
it's always important for all these things to be done because it makes it easy for the everyday Nigerian. So this one is a really, really good one. I guess it's one of the things we'll be talking about when our analyst is going to be up with us later at 7:30 a.m. Also on the front page of the Punch newspaper is what I started talking about this morning with, as it leads with a picture of a collapsed hospital. Outrage as Russian missiles kill 33 persons in Ukraine's children hospital.
Look at how everywhere is so
the rubbles and all that. Yeah. So if you want to get more about this story, you need to go look at the Punch. Page 18 is where that story is at. Just beside that, we see Fubara court bars Rivers CJ from accepting impeachment notice. Well, there's always going to be a saga in Port Harcourt. There's always going to be a saga in Rivers. As long as it has to do with politics, there's always a saga. It's going to always be a Fubara versus Wike crisis. This is going to lead to up to about 2027, and I really can't wait to see what happens on election day in 2027. Just below that, we see local airlines project 918 naira per liter aviation fuel meets Dangote. That is, they're saying local airlines project 918 naira per liter for aviation fuel, and they're ready to meet Dangote to discuss more. You want to know what they'll be discussing? You need to go look at the Punch newspaper. That story is on page 21. And just above the nameplate, one story that we keep seeing for the past few days: queue spread as petrol hits 1,100 naira per liter in Abuja and others. Real sad. Because 1,100 naira per liter only goes to show that more suffering coming, because transportation will increase, food prices will increase, so many things will be on the increase.
Like, I'm not even surprised by this particular story, because yesterday when I was heading out, I saw queue and I was like, what is happening?
Well, it's coming back.
What is happening? I was like, what is happening? And I think also vehicles weren't really so much towards the night. I don't know if maybe that was also what caused it. Vehicles was quite hard to get around, around the hours of 7. So
really?
I think, at first I was thinking maybe it's because it's Monday, but still, I mean, I have gone out on a Monday around that evening and there were vehicles, but this time around it was quite scarce. There were a lot of people at the queue just waiting. Well,
the last story which we'll be taking on the Punch here says Naira weakens to 1,523 naira per dollar at official markets. Another sad one, another real sad one. But hey, that's the much we can take on the Punch for this morning.
And moving on to the Vanguard, again, front page says federal government opts for duty-free imports of rice, beans, wheat, and other grains. This is very particular, as we just read, from the Punch newspaper. And there are 3 writers here. It says it'll impact on inflation, definitely. Another says a step in the right direction, true. Then 3, another says Farmer Action Aid Boss React. You can find all of that on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper. And below that, on page 7, there is news on end of the road for 9 billion naira kidnappers in Lagos. End of the road for 9 billion naira kidnappers in Lagos. We've been hearing lots of stories about kidnapping. So if you want to get more of that story, you can go to page 7 of the Vanguard newspaper. Then below it, on page 10, you can find court bars River CJ Clerk from accepting Amewule's impeachment note. Besides that, you have scarcity. NNPCL blames logistics, flooding as petrol queues grow longer. Like I told you, there was a queue. And there was a queue.
But it's really sad that, the excuse is being given. It's something as, like this, logistics and, flooding. Well, I just really hope all this will be fixed and we can escape having queues in our filling station.
Exactly. That is on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And above that, you can find 72 hours after abduction, fate of Kaduna journalist remains unknown. Page 28. Few days ago, we're just talking about this. Ayan told me, like, it is quite sad that the people that are actually there to give us information about the country, make us know, okay, these are the things to do, things not to do, are the ones that are still being abducted, and so many things bad are happening. So what exactly do we now rely on? Look at this story.
It's really sad, and it goes to show how the life of a journalist in Nigeria is really, really not valued, because every day we see crimes against journalists, either police harassment or being kidnapped or something. Journalists are, the media remains, like those who checkmate the checks and balances of the government and all that. And if they can't be protected, if they can't be secured to do their job, then how exactly are we going to get the truth? Journalists needs to be protected. It can never be overemphasized. They need to be protected. They are needed in the society. Like,
job is risky. There are jobs with their risk and level of risk, but this is,
I think at one certain point we saw on the news that Nigeria is like one of the countries that it is the hardest for a journalist to thrive, for journalists to survive, because
can you imagine?
It's so hard. You can be taking a story,
beating, you don't know who's gonna come hijack it from you.
You can have a story about one huge person today, and probably you're just doing your own story, trying to speak the truth and bring it out to everyone to know the truth. And immediately you're seeing yourself in prison for no reason at all, or you're tortured or you're kidnapped.
Especially if it's now for the truth again.
Do you understand? So it's really, really hard for journalists in this part of the world to do their job, outrightly. And it's scary. It really is.
It's sad. Well, moving on to that's on page 28. If you want to get more news on that, and on page 20 we have news on Zenith Bank wins best commercial bank. There's a particular bank that wins best commercial bank in Nigeria, and of course best corporate governance awards. Moving on to page 8, we have we have another bank's GMD appointed chairman body of banks CEO. Then right above that we have banks borrowing from CBN skyrockets by 458% to 57.5 trillion naira.
That's huge.
You see the way I calmed down.
I think it's part of the reason why the current the current CBN governor, Professor Cardoso, is moving into thinking of a recapitalization of the banking sector, which was we saw that in the newspapers yesterday. The last time we had a recapitalization in the banking sector was the era of the now governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo. So maybe it's a long time coming, because Cardoso feels it's the best way to, restable the economy, to make the banking sector better. And for us to be still seeing something like, them borrowing as much as this, over 458%. It goes to show that the banking sector needs a whole lot of help. The banking sector needs more. Although for we the ordinary Nigerians from the banking sector, we are like, man, you people are taking our money for no reason.
Like
so many alerts coming from
those tiny charges.
Yeah, man. So well, anyways, I really do hope that the banking sector gets stronger, because a stronger banking sector means a stronger economy, means a stronger Nigeria.
Yeah, and all of that you can find on page 19 of the Vanguard newspaper, and that is all we can take for this particular newspaper review.
Well, from the Vanguard newspaper straight down to the Daily Trust, and the Daily Trust leads with this one. It's huge. They have pictures and timeline and all that, and it's saying pressure mounts on FG to release Nnamdi Kanu. And there was a write-down on this one. It said only one option available after political agreement. That's according to Yadudu. And in case you want to know what that option is, in case you want to know much about that story, then you have to look at page 4. The Nnamdi Kanu story is one story that keeps resurfacing over and over again. We've heard so many courts say he needs to go. The federal government say no, he has to be in jail. So many things. Some people say it's a political issue. Some say allegedly it's the reason why there's allegedly again insecurity in the southeast. But the truth of the matter is the issue with Nnamdi Kanu needs to be resolved as soon as possible. I think
it's been going on for a long
It's been going on for like forever. It is something that needs to be resolved. The government needs to take a stand and come to a decision, whether it's to release him or to prosecute him. Finally, you need to come to a decision, and let's get on with it already. So, but we've had so many times where the court says it needs to be released, and we still saw his lawyer speaking as of yesterday saying it's because there is no legal right to try him. That is why most of the courts have said it needs to be released. But hey, the federal government said they have enough reason why he's still there. So let's see how it goes, and hopefully it leads to a better situation for Nigeria. And just above that big headline there, we see this one. NPC proposes November 2024 for national census. Wow. The national census has been something that I was, everyone has been like, okay, when is this going to be done? I still remember, I remember physically when we did the last census. I remember how it was counted, and I'm like, okay, if it has been that long.
It's too long.
If it has been that long, over 15, 16 years now, if it has been that long, how exactly are you working on the budget of Nigeria? How exactly are you working on the numbers? Are we just, guessing? Because sometimes you see people say, we're over 200 million. Because as of that time, the last census, I think the last figure we had was about 180 million Nigerians as of the last census. And since then, all we keep hearing is Nigerians is over 200 million. Nobody can actually give a figure.
There's no specific
figure. You just hear over 200 million, over 200 million, over 200 million. And I keep wondering, if we do not have data, if we do not have these figures, how then do we prepare our budget? How then do we, know the amount of, the basics? This is another important thing I think we need to discuss with our analysts when it comes up. But, before that, we have like less than 8 minutes before our analysts come up. So let's just, run through the dailies as quick as possible. Sultan NSCIA cautions political leaders against Muslim traditional rulers. It's something we've been seeing so of late. Traditional rulers are now, it's now being politics nowadays. You get to see a governor come in and say, okay, I don't want this traditional ruler anymore. I'm putting in someone else. And I'm saying, our traditions no longer exist. Is it politics now? Well, if you want to hear about that story, you need to go get the Daily Trust, and you can find that story on page 5. And just above that, again, bandits kill 1, abduct 22 in Katsina. Insecurity every single day. That's one thing that has not seemed to change in Nigeria, although they say change is constant. That's one change that has not happened. Well, that's the much we can take on the Daily Trust.
It has the news.
It has the news. Yeah, it's still about the FG plans waiver on rice, wheat, and others. We've taken that on the other dailies that we have there. So, hey, let's move to the next daily.
Sure. And then finally, for the Guardian newspaper, we have some pictorial statistics here. It says 2023 budget performance outlook. Unfunded deficit hits 1 trillion naira in 9 months, worsens federal government's fiscal position. Unfunded deficit hits 1 trillion naira in 9 months, worsens federal government's fiscal positions. We have they've been broken down to debt service, recurrent expenditure, capital expenditure, revenue, and of course physical deficit. So it's a lot of minus.
It's a huge lot of numbers. If you can copy the Guardian this morning, you can see the numbers. I think.
Yeah, so that's on page 6.
Yeah, the major issue with Nigeria, I think, is Nigeria has a spending problem.
I mean, we spend more than
Nigeria has a spending problem. We get to see that, we get to spend on things that are really not important. There is still one that came out yesterday for budget. I think it was budget. One of looking into the budgets and all that, and we get to see some establishments giving back payment to one of their heads for 143 million naira. That's for payment for medical trips and all that the person did. And I'm like, okay, 143 million for the because that's what is reimbursement for the medical issues he had and all. Imagine if 143 million naira was invested into the Nigerian medical system. Do you understand? Because if he had paid that much for medical trips and all that, probably he has left the country to go get treatment and all that. Imagine if all these amounts are being spent in our health sector in Nigeria. Imagine if we do not have all these medical tours up and down. Build the health sector in Nigeria. How hard
it'd be so much better,
and
things would be even lesser.
I always wonder how hard it could be. Like, we see private hospitals doing these things, and they are doing it. So how hard could it be? Why do we just prefer medical tourism, like going out there? It just shows one level of classism for every Nigerian. The most of them do not believe in building your own. You just believe in, let me go outside and do it. If you do not build your home,
then who's going to?
We see our government officials prefer going out. Go get the bag because they know it's not standard.
Yes, it's better over there.
Who is supposed to make it standard? Is it me, an everyday Nigerian who has no power in government, or you who has all the power in the world to do what you're supposed to do? So it's really alarming, and I think one of the best ways that Nigeria can get it right is if the National Assembly put a ban to medical tourism, especially for political office holders.
At least, if they put it first on the head, the other people understand that this is something serious, and they follow suit.
Can't go for medical tourism, then they have no choice than to fix the healthcare, because hey, you don't want to be sick and go to a whack doctor. So the fact that you can fix it and make it standard, it means, as a political leader, I can't go outside here and get treatment. Only the normal citizen, the average Nigerian can travel abroad. So it's better I fix the health sector. So in case I'm sick, I'll be
able to.
So it's really important that the government needs to, it's 2024. We are so blessed.
1 trillion naira deficit.
We are so blessed, and I don't think we should be facing all this. It's disappointing.
It's sad. It's quite sad. So if you want to get more of that, that's on page 6. We still have more news here. Ex-General task federal government on new wage demand, court in Governor's Court to avert crisis. That is on page. That's on page 6 also. Then we have right here beside it, 72-year-old man bags life jail for defiling minor, and that is on page 8. And these are the kind of examples to be certain for things like this, because what on earth are you doing? What on earth are you doing? Next, we have on the business news on page 15, fear over illicit flow to banks as shareholders struggle with rights issues. And moving on, we have student loan. NANS gives tertiary institutions 48 hours to submit data. That's on page 30. We still have more news here. On page 7, we can see that EEDC to refund 11.8 billion naira to Southeast customers. We have beside it on page 4, Obi urges anti-graft agencies to focus on grand theft. Obi urges anti-graft agencies to focus on grand theft. And beside it also, we have below it, actually, we have man climbs mast to protest economic hardship in Abuja. That is on page 4.
That was huge yesterday. The video was all over the internet, all over X, and it might sound a bit funny, but the truth is, everybody has a breaking point, and this protest yesterday wasn't just the only one. Funny enough, he did it as a form of protest. He actually wrote a suicide note. Listing for things like reason why he climbed the mast and for government to do better, and all that. But it was not the only one on single-handed protest yesterday. There was the guy called the Flag Boy, who was also arrested when he was protesting yesterday. And what was his description? There is hunger in the land. There was Ang Sanuku, who had a single protest yesterday. And what was his description? Hunger deo. It goes to show people are hungry
and they are tired.
People are tired, And we said something. I ended with something yesterday on the note where I was talking about Nigerians, because our analysts were like, Nigerians, when we were pushed to the wall, we break the wall and keep moving, And it's true. We break you need to turn back and fight back like a cat or something. We break the wall and keep moving. And I ended it with saying, I hope we do not break the wall and keep moving and we have nowhere else to go to. And we just have to drown. Because at the end of the day, there might be no wall anymore. And you just have to face
the
everything comes out, it might lead to a crisis. Because you see the news on what the general was saying there. It says it might lead to, there needs to be cutting cost of governance. There needs to be sincerity from government to say that we are also trying to meet up to what is happening. Governance is spending like it doesn't care, yet the people are the ones still told to sacrifice. You get to see the news of telling Nigerians to start into small scale farming. Everybody's going, and I'm beginning to wonder. So who are going to be the ones to farm? Is it me? Should I plant tomatoes in my house that I leave my house as early as 5 a.m. to come? I don't know when I'll be back home. Am I going to plant tomatoes? Okay, if we can still go into farming, should we also get our own fuel? Because there's fuel scarcity. Should we also get our own fuel? Should we go get our own refineries?
The basic things that are supposed to make an economy work.
At this time, you can't be saying small scale farming is the solution to food inflation. It has to be huge. Nigeria shouldn't be talking about food inflation at this point. The reason why we are still talking about food inflation is because of the things we see in the food producing states that we have. Most of them can't go to the farm no more because of herders.
Exactly.
You go to the farm and then your crop is eaten. So many things is happening. So we need to tackle those basic things. And I guess we'll get our answers. Not for our political leaders to try to gaslight us and tell us to go start farming. And for us to, what do you mean we should go start? Like, I don't understand.
Okay, so you're still at newspaper review. This is all we can take for the Guardian newspaper. The next time we'll be here again in just a few minutes. We will be having our analysis so that we can delve into all of these matters better and have more understanding on what is happening and how we can tackle all of these problems. My name is still Toluwase Akiwumi, and I'm still here with
Uche Okorese in the house. And of course, when we come back from the short break, our guest analyst Stephen Aya will be in the house as we get to discuss all the major stories that are making the headlines. Don't go nowhere. It's still the newspaper review on Our Impact Radio 102.1 FM.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.
Babe, I want to surprise my guy with a good treat. Where would you recommend?
Girl, I've got the perfect place for you.
Are you sure?
Yeah, my family and I were there not too long ago. It was fantastic. And the kids loved it. The apartment was home away from home, the right swimming pool, 3D cinema, and the food. Oh my gosh.
Where's this place now?
It's High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort, my dear. It's just away from Lagos and it has everything you need to relax and have unlimited fun.
How do I make booking?
Oh yeah, call this number 0814-229-9509. Wait, are you booking a suite?
Why?
So I can tag along,
Nikini. High Impact Planet Amusement Park and Resort. Fun just got real.
Do you know bad production can kill a great content idea? Do you want to have a photo shoot, audio production, or do you need a professional voiceover artist?
Do you simply want unmatched cinematography, video production, or just event coverage, such as weddings, birthdays, or burials?
Or do you need a space for meetings or conferences? All these are possible with High Impact Studios. Don't bring down your creativity, let's help you take it high.
And out of this world with our state-of-the-art equipment and first-class studio space.
We give you the quality you deserve at the best rate.
For more details, call 0706 393 5694 or 0915 958 1881. High Impact Studios, the future.
High Impact 102.1 FM. Mwah!
Welcome back. This is still newspaper review on 102.1 FM High Impact Radio. Right now we have our analyst, that is the person of Mr. Stephen Aya, on the line so that we can delve more into what is happening. Of course, if you want to join the conversation, you can call 0700-1021-1021 or send a text message or WhatsApp message to 0907-224-5018. Mr. Stephen Aya, good morning.
Good morning. How are you doing today?
Fine, thank you. Welcome to the newspaper review segment. So we have lots and lots of news right here. But first,
okay, let's lead with this one. Okay, I want to start with the Naira weakening to 1,523 at the official market rate. And for so many of us, we've been thinking, like, when the Cardoso regime started, and we were told so many ways at which they will cop the increase, like, stop the increase of the Naira to the dollar and all that. But we don't see for any of that to change now. We saw a time it went up by 1,900, it went back down, it came back up. But for weeks now, month now, it has stuck to 1,500. Is it that the CBN doesn't really have a hand on how to actually do this and make sure that currency perform better?
The issue of this Naira thing is worrisome, but I also think that we should not leave it directly to the government for them to try and whatever they can in bringing solutions, because it seems to have defined all economic solutions, and you can't really blame anybody, or you can blame everybody for it. That the truth of the matter is that Nigerians have a high taste for foreign goods, which we are not manufacturing, and because of global warming and the present climatic condition worldwide, countries are busy reducing their usage of fossil fuel, which means that oil prices in the market are not that high. And even where they are, you have a situation where Nigeria is not producing at the highest capacity due to factors such as the Niger Delta militant and the oil sector as well, and bunkering. So all this narrows down to the fact that we want so much of foreign goods and we have little to offer to get that foreign goods. So it has to go up. Things have to be very expensive as the way they are right now. I don't know. It has to start from somewhere. Probably the leadership of the government. They have to take some drastic action. Which will actually to actually change our attitude towards locally produced goods.
Well, I was going to come to that, because yes, in as much as Nigerians, yes, we all have all this foreign love for foreign things and foreign taste and all that, but it has to be the government who will, change all this, because at the end of the day, if we do not have a manufacturing industry that can, give us the standard of the things that we want, it will be impossible for Nigerians not to want something else, because at the end of the day, we all want value for our money. So the government needs to do more in, making sure that the manufacturing industry is working at optimal level. We see so many taxation, so much that Nigeria is not considered to have a business-friendly environment, and so many industries are closing down. Shouldn't that be the more focus on the government to make sure that the manufacturing industry is working at its optimal stage?
Yes. Actually, what you're saying is the truth. But and if you remember the last time I appeared on this program, I actually stressed that need that the government needs to show some concern regarding the fact that industries are closing down and all of that. Now, that is just a part of the dynamics in solving out the issues. The issues are not just about industries closing down, about unemployment rising. The issue is right down also to the cost of production itself. Most of these companies are closing down because of cost of production, and tied down to the cost of production is the cost of bringing the machinery in, the cost of bringing maybe some vital chemicals and all those things, and they're all tied down to the little dollar that everybody is running at. You get what I'm saying?
Yes, I'm with you.
So if we could start by appreciating the little that we can do within the house. I'm not talking about government, because no matter how conducive the environment that is created by government, there has to be a market for the produce that will come out of those companies and those industries. And the initiative to even set up those industries should come from the business community. And the business community are the you and I. Unfortunately for us, like I said, because we have this huge test for foreign things and foreign goods, most of the people within the business communities or even the political class who have the will within, the means to set up businesses and industries, they don't really keep their money here anymore. They've moved the money outside the country. So the money is flashed outside the country. And the little that you and I are saving in the bank cannot even go around. And that's why the banks are even increasing various charges just in order to make sure that they also get their own out of the system. So it's really a massive one. It will not just take one whole solution to solve it. You have to solve a lot of issues along the way as we are trying to address the issue of dollar liquidity. It's a situation whereby you even have to probably get foreigners who are buying some of the things that we are producing to actually buy them in naira, just like what Russia did when we started having problems with the Western world, and they said, okay, look, you know what, we are not selling our goods in dollar again. We want you guys to buy our own currency and buy it from us using our own currency. And whether you like to believe it or not, that thing has helped them, because the sanctions that have been placed on them have been limited. Their economy has been growing, because you go to Russia, you want to buy Russian cars to bring to Nigeria and all those things. You don't have to go with dollars. You have to go and buy Russian rubles and then purchase the car. Then the transport is out. So some of those things too are part of it. Like I said, it will require a whole lot of solutions. It's just like you are going to cook one big pot of soup. You have to put virtually everything in. So it's got everything in. And of course, as those things go in, it will also take some time for the naira to be able to be stable against the dollar, because people will have to have confidence in the naira and believe that, look, the naira can give us exactly what we needed. From that point, you can begin to say, okay, we are going to deal with the dollar, we are going to think like that, yeah.
Okay, moving from our economy to something that has been ranging Nigeria for so many times. It's still linked to that economy, but it's something that I think Nigerians have been like, it's a long time coming. Why has it not happened? And that is the national census. Because I for one feel like, how would you know how to follow up your economy financially if you do not have a certain figure of how many persons are in the country. Nigeria, since the last time we did the national census, which we said were by 180 million people, we've moved from that time to now where everybody is not certain about the figure. We keep telling ourselves 200 million, over 200 million, over 200 million. And the NPC now saying November 2024 is when they want to, do the national census. Is this something that is not coming at a time way too late, or something that you feel that it must have to be done immediately?
No, I don't think it's too late. I believe the international standard is 10 years, between 10 and 15 years after the last census has been conducted. So I don't think it's not something that you will do randomly or do every 2 years or every 3 years. No, because of the resources that is required to be committed to the census thing. And this issue of census is a very dicey thing because it has been politicized. So everybody believes that the higher their population, then the more they will be able to get a stake or have a stake in the national cake when it's being divided. Whereas it's not supposed to be so. So the politicians have the serious interest, the various religious groups have serious interest, the various nationalities, ethnic nationalities also have serious interest. So when you have everybody looking for or trying to seek an advantage over another, you find out that the situation becomes somehow involved in a murky water, so to say. To cast your mind back, you discover that even when the final result of the last census were released, some politicians and religious leaders came out disputing the
figures,
the results, because the figures, because it didn't really favor them, or they see it as not being favorable to them or the others. But that's the way it's supposed to be. It's just that we are in a country whereby everybody wants to manipulate whatever given situation that they have to their own advantage. It's rather unfortunate that way. Other than that, the period of time within which the census is being conducted, I think it's internationally accepted this thing. And aside from that, I think we should be moving away with current development and the way the world is moving. We should be moving away from having to close down the country for about 3 days or 4 days or 5 days in the name of census.
Yeah, true. Because the last time it was like there was a national holiday, we had to be at home. I remember I was way younger than this, and we had to be at home to write our names down. Our parents didn't go to work, we didn't go to school, and I think at this time with technology and AI being available,
things should be easier.
It should be way easier than before.
Yes, it should be way easier. It should be. In fact, we shouldn't even think of closing down the country in the name of census. But like I said, people, politicians, religious leaders, tribal champions, and all those things are always looking for opportunities that they will be able to benefit. So, for some people, closing down the country within that period of the census is a huge gain for them. So it must be done that way. Some other people, look, once the figures are released and it is to their advantage, they feel satisfied. It's a good situation for them, and all those things like that. So everybody has an interest that is just, let me put it, personal, and as a result of that, a lot of pressure now comes to the institutions like the National Population Census Population Agency and all those things like that. But with current development, actually, no day should be lost in the name of census. It should have been easier. But right now, as we are talking, I'm not sure, as of this morning, even officials of Lagos State government know how many babies that were born in Lagos State hospitals today.
Well, that shows how bad we are with data, because
that's how bad we are. So if we cannot keep records of the birth of new babies, then definitely we cannot keep records of the number of deaths that have occurred in this country, because it's not every death that the family members go to ask for a death certificate.
True.
You know, a lot of them, they don't even bother. They will just dig the ground and
put the person in.
And they are done. So, because of all these things, we sectors have to take place where we have to close down the country for a certain period of time. But that is equally an economic waste, because for every day that goes down without people working, some people are either going to sleep hungry or any other thing like that. You know. So,
Definitely. Talking about food and people going to sleep hungry, we need to talk about this one. This is something so many feel it's coming at the right time, but at the same time probably should have come way before now. With the federal government planning waivers on rice, wheat and other grains importation into the country. How significant do you think this will help tackle the food inflation we're currently facing?
And that is where we have come. That is why we are having the dollar crisis that we are having. Like I said at the beginning, this craving for importation of virtually everything, it's not helping us at all.
By the time where most people do not go to the farms anymore, most people can't access their farms. We're seeing how high it is for you to even get food in Nigeria, how hard it is for farmers to do their job.
Yes, I agree that there is a security challenge. But I'm a serious advocate of the fact that those security challenges could be tackled.
True. It's good.
It could be tackled. There are formulas to tackle those security challenges, and those formulas are not in the jungle somewhere. They are just right there within us. I know some people will say, "Oh, send down the soldiers to go and fight them and kill them and all those things." Fine, that's just one. But the other is, look, for every bandit or criminal or any militant that you see, for every bandit, criminal, militant that is around, that you try to exterminate, there are 10 others who are dreaming and wishing and planning to become bandits and criminals and all those hard guys in the society. And the reason boils down to the fact that, number one, government has not created an enabling environment for businesses to thrive. Number two, there is serious unemployment rate in the country.
True.
You have graduate universities. We have over 200 universities in this country, if I'm not mistaken, chucking down graduates every year. And then of those, you cannot even employ up to 25%. Something is wrong. So you're going to import food to bring. Yes, fine, you import food to bring. The highest you can import and feed your people will not be more than 2 months.
Yeah, the waiver is just only even for 5 months.
Yes. Then the cycle goes back again. You can project and say, okay, we are importing for 5 months, but the food will not last up to 2 months because virtually every house is hungry.
True.
They are in a situation where the rich are also crying. I'm sure you understand.
Yes, definitely, I do.
It's not just a situation of saying it's the poor that are crying. The rich are also crying. So if you are importing this food, it has to go everywhere. And because you don't know the population you have, you don't have accurate data in terms of data for population that you have, you can import for 100 million only to discover that importation that you have done, you are feeding 250 million. So it's a complete crisis on its own that requires a holistic solution. It's not one solution that can be sorted out at one point.
Oh, that's absolutely amazing, and I want us to really touch on this one really quick because we're fast run out of time, and this is about the Nnamdi Kanu saga. It's something that is reoccurring, and more pressure mounts on the federal government to get to release him. Do you think this is taking way too long, because for so many persons it's a political issue. For some other persons, he deserves to be there. Do you think this is a matter that's gone for way too long?
Well, it can never be too long. It can never be too long. Mandela spent how many years in prison? And it was just a political issue.
Okay.
It's an issue that needed to be sorted out. So it's not taking too long. It is a political issue truly, and it needs to be sorted out. And it needs to be sorted out in a way whereby both parties will be satisfied
with the result.
With, yes, the result, and also in terms, if there is a need for compensation, then in terms of compensation, both parties will get to that point. But of course, the truth of the matter is that there is no way out. It's a political situation, and it requires negotiation. And negotiation is not done in under 1 hour or under 2 hours. It takes a process. It's a long time. This thing, you speak to this thing goes back and speak to their own people. You speak to it before you keep on going and forth. Something that will continue for some time until you get to a position whereby you have a political solution. And like I told people right from the onset of this crisis, I said this crisis needs not to be pushed to this particular level where we are today. It's something that requires a political solution right from the beginning. There are representatives and senators from the area where Nnamdi Kanu comes from who are fully equipped to start addressing the issues and concerns of their people from the National Assembly before it is even pushed to the position of the president. But because those guys too, when they go there, as far as they are concerned, they are made. They don't really need the people anymore. So the people and
Hello, Mr. Aya.
We don't seem to. The network is quite bad. We don't seem to hear basically most of the last few things. Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah, but it's a bit breaking.
Okay, so what do we do?
Well, just on your final notes, just give us something on your final notes.
Okay, on the final note, I think we should just accept the fact that it will take a little bit of time before it is accomplished, but I'm sure it will be done.
Okay.
The commitment that I have from both government and the Nnamdi Kanu side, it will be done.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Mr. Stevie Aya, for joining us this morning on the newspaper review. Your analysis were something that we really, really enjoyed. Thank you for being part of it. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, have yourself a beautiful day ahead of you.
Same to you, my brother. Same to you.
Okay. Well, we've been speaking with Mr. Stevie Aya about basically most of the things happening in Nigeria and how we can get to resolve them.
Exactly. And we even have a reaction right here from John Amodu. He's always contributing for when it's time for newspaper review. So he says, good morning, High Impact Radio. Government removals of import duties on essential food commodity is what we have been calling for as an economist and analyst. It is a good direction for immediate relief of food crisis, and while this is ongoing, all hands must be on deck to improve the security of the country for farmers to return back to farm, deploy security to rural areas, and invest massively on mechanized agriculture and food production. Ensure price control of essential commodity by opening government business hub that will sell at low rates to tackle the market price force. On the issue in Rivers State, the federal government should intervene by calling Wike to order so that it cannot generate to national crisis. This is on call for this is uncalled for that at the time that the country is already facing insecurity crisis on the issue of federal APC leaders and political office holders and governors exonerating the government of Tinubu from the hunger in the land. They should stop their usual propaganda and face true realities and carry out their assigned responsibilities to make the country a better place. And I strongly advise the government to stop unnecessary borrowing at this moment in order to revive the value of our currency. Thanks and have a nice working day. Thank you to John Amodu. You know, he mentioned this particular thing of mechanized agriculture. And I know that it's been a really, really long time that people have been like talking about it, mechanized agriculture. But it's almost like nothing has been happening.
Well, it's really a sad one, and you know, and hopefully the government will be able to listen to our citizens and turn to do the right things. And well, that's a very fine way to leave the show today on the newspaper review. Thank you so much, Mr. John Mod, for that contribution. It goes to show that Nigerians are active and they really, really know what they want.
Exactly.
But as everyday Nigerians, it's very, very important for us to know the power we wield and for us to wield that power positively. My name is Uche Okoria. I'll be here again tomorrow, right as early 5 minutes past 7 for the newspaper review. Enjoy the rest of your day, beautiful ones, and have a lovely, lovely Tuesday.
Yes, it's been a lovely adventure with you. My name is Toluwase Akiomi, and of course, the Morning Impact Show continues.
Join us Mondays to Fridays, 7:05 a.m. for newspaper reviews, headlines, analysis, and comments on your urban lifestyle station. High Impact 102.1 FM.